Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at a tense and unusually revealing moment in Belarusian politics, where reports suggest that senior military figures have sent a clear warning to President Alexander Lukashenko. This is not an everyday development in a country known for strict loyalty to its long-time ruler. When generals speak, even indirectly, it signals pressure building beneath the surface. Belarus has often been described as one of the most tightly controlled states in Europe. For decades, Lukashenko has relied on security forces, intelligence agencies, and the military to maintain order and suppress dissent. That relationship has usually been one-directional, with commands flowing downward and loyalty expected upward. Any sign of hesitation or pushback changes the entire political equation. The idea of generals sending a warning does not necessarily mean an open rebellion. In authoritarian systems, warnings are often subtle, carefully worded, and delivered behind closed doors. They can come in the form of internal memos, strategic assessments, or quiet refusals to carry out certain orders. Even so, their meaning is often unmistakable. To understand why this matters, we need to look at the role of the Belarusian military in the current crisis environment. Belarus sits at a strategic crossroads between Russia and NATO countries. Its armed forces have been under constant pressure due to regional instability, sanctions, and the ongoing war in Ukraine. This has stretched resources and tested morale. Many officers are career professionals who joined the military to defend national sovereignty, not to manage internal political repression. Over time, being repeatedly asked to support controversial domestic actions can create deep unease. That unease does not always show in public, but it accumulates quietly. Reports of a warning suggest that senior commanders may be drawing lines they do not want crossed. These lines could relate to further involvement in foreign conflicts, increased internal crackdowns, or decisions that risk dragging Belarus into direct confrontation. Generals think in terms of long-term stability, not just immediate political survival. Lukashenko's power has historically depended on balancing different security institutions against each other. The army, the police, the internal troops, and intelligence services all play distinct roles. If the regular military begins signaling discomfort, that balance becomes harder to maintain. It raises questions about how unified the state truly is. The warning also reflects growing anxiety about the future of the country. Belarus faces economic pressure from sanctions, reduced trade options, and dependence on external allies. The military feels these pressures directly through budgets, equipment quality, and training limitations. Officers know when the system they serve is under strain. Another key factor is public sentiment. While protests have been suppressed, dissatisfaction has not disappeared. Soldiers and officers come from society, not from isolation. They hear the same complaints, see the same hardships, and understand that force alone cannot create legitimacy forever. When generals communicate concern, it often means they fear being put in an impossible position. They may worry about orders that could split the ranks or damage the institution's reputation beyond repair. Military leaders are trained to avoid internal fracture at all costs. It is also important to consider timing. Warnings usually come when decision-making reaches a critical point. Something may be approaching that senior officers believe would fundamentally alter Belarus's security posture. They may feel the need to intervene before that threshold is crossed. This does not automatically make the generals political reformers. Their priorities are likely stability, institutional survival, and national security. However, those priorities can still clash with a leader who is focused on personal control and immediate threats. Lukashenko himself has often spoken publicly about loyalty within the armed forces. He frequently praises the military and emphasizes unity. Such rhetoric can sometimes increase when confidence is shaky, serving as reassurance both to himself and to the public. If the warning was indeed delivered, Lukashenko now faces a delicate choice. Ignoring it risks alienating a key pillar of his power. Overreacting could deepen mistrust and push officers further away. Managing the situation requires restraint, something not always associated with his leadership style. History shows that authoritarian leaders often fall not when the public first protests, but when elite support begins to fracture. The military's stance is especially decisive. Even neutrality during a crisis can change outcomes dramatically. At the same time, Belarus is not operating in a vacuum. External actors are watching closely. Allies and rivals alike analyze every sign of instability. A warning from generals sends a signal beyond the country's borders, whether intended or not. For Russia, Belarus's stability is strategically important. Any indication that Lukashenko's control is weakening raises concerns in Moscow. Russian leaders prefer predictability, especially in neighboring states tied closely to their security interests. Western countries, meanwhile, monitor these developments for signs of potential change. While they may not expect immediate transformation, even small cracks in the system can alter diplomatic calculations. Sanctions, negotiations, and messaging can all shift based on perceived internal dynamics. Within the military itself, unity is paramount. If senior leaders speak up, it may be to prevent divisions among lower ranks. Clear guidance from the top can help avoid confusion and rumor spreading within the armed forces. There is also the human element. Generals are not abstract figures. They are individuals with careers, families, and legacies. They may be thinking about how history will judge their actions, being remembered as silent enforcers or as cautious guardians of stability makes a difference to many officers. The language of a warning matters greatly. It is rarely dramatic or confrontational. Instead, it is often framed as professional advice, risk assessment, or strategic concern. This allows the leader to respond without losing face. Whether Lukashenko accepts or resists such advice will shape the next phase of Belarusian politics. Compliance could mean policy adjustments or delayed decisions. Resistance could increase pressure and deepen elite dissatisfaction. It is also possible that the warning serves as a test. Generals may be gauging Lukashenko's reaction to see how flexible or isolated he has become. His response will inform their future behavior. The public may never see the full details of these exchanges. Authoritarian systems thrive on opacity. However, leaks and rumors themselves can be powerful, shaping perceptions even without confirmation. Perception often becomes reality in politics. If people believe the military is uneasy, it can embolden other institutions to voice concerns. Conversely, swift reassurance can calm speculation. This moment highlights how power is not just about command, but about consent within elites. Lukashenko's long rule has depended on that consent as much as on coercion. The situation remains fluid. A warning does not equal a rupture, but it is rarely meaningless. It suggests that pressures are converging from multiple directions at once. As observers, we should avoid assuming immediate outcomes. Political change in tightly controlled systems often unfolds slowly, through signals rather than headlines. This could be one such signal. What is clear is that Belarus is entering a more uncertain phase. Economic strain, regional conflict, and internal fatigue all intersect here. The military's voice adds weight to these pressures. For Lukashenko, the challenge is maintaining authority without pushing key supporters too far. For the generals, the challenge is protecting their institution while navigating political realities. This balance is fragile. Even small missteps can have outsized consequences. That is why warnings, even quiet ones, matter so much. In the coming months, we should watch for changes in rhetoric, appointments, and military posture. These details often reveal more than official statements. Ultimately, this story is about power, loyalty, and limits. It shows that even in systems built on control, there are boundaries leaders cannot ignore forever. If you found this analysis helpful, stay tuned for more in-depth breakdowns of global power shifts and political signals. Until next time, thanks for watching and take care.